So once you find yourself in a comfortable sit, go ahead and close your eyes. Taking a moment to settle into your mat or onto a cushion if that works better for you. And taking a moment to observe your breath, just watching it as it comes in and comes out. Letting it slow you down, letting it slow your day down. Allowing your eyes to just be soft if they're closed, maybe looking at the backs of your eyelids. Taking a moment without changing or adjusting anything, but just noticing your body for a moment. Where is your head? Often when I've been sitting in yoga classes, sometimes if sitting like this, I've had teachers come over and kind of just slightly adjust my head, because when I'm sitting like this, I actually look ever so slightly off to the right. So I have to be conscious of that and remember to turn my head back to center, which feels weird for me. It feels like I'm looking left. So just notice, is your head naturally tilted upwards? Do you tend to tilt it downwards? Is your chin jutting out? And once you notice where it is, if it's not centered, if it's not in a neutral position, go ahead and see if you can find that neutral position. And same thing with your shoulders. Take a moment to notice just how you're sitting when you haven't thought about it. Observe if your shoulders are rounding down or if you're tensing them up and they're crunching up by your shoulders. Bring your awareness to that. And then if they are in a position that's maybe not ideal, go ahead and relax out of that. Bring them to a neutral position. And as you come down your spine, are you sticking your ribs out? Are you puffing your chest out? Or are you drawing your ribs in, keeping your torso in a neutral position? Again, I know I tend to tilt forward on my hips when I'm sitting like this. I sort of stick my chest out and hinge a little bit forward, and I have to remember to shift my weight to the center. So again, just notice where you are. Maybe even move forward and back slightly. Maybe move side to side slightly, just to see if you're actually in the middle, and then find yourself to the middle. And just letting your arms and your hands relax and release into your lap wherever is comfortable. You're certainly always welcome to form a mudra. There are many, 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 many mudras. I only know a few of them. And when you're sitting here with your hands and your legs, you can touch a thumb to any one of your fingers. They actually do different things, whether you're touching to index finger, ring finger, or on. And I don't actually remember the nuances, but any of them, what they do is they sort of complete the cycle of energy. So rather than as the energy goes down through our channels, the idea is that it reaches your fingertip and your thumb and sort of recycles back in. Very broadly speaking. I am not an expert on the energies of the pranas. And clearing your mind, noticing as thoughts come in. The meditation I did this morning was this guided meditation on an app that I use, and she said when you have a thought come into your mind, just say to yourself, thinking, and then let it go. It's not bad that thoughts come into our minds. We just don't want to dwell on them. We don't want to pay them much attention in that moment. So as thoughts come in, just notice that a thought came in, and then let it go. When you're sitting here in stillness, it's easier for those thoughts to kind of drift in as we're moving through the practice. Your focus should be on the practice, and it tends to be that thoughts don't come into your mind. But if we hold a posture and you have that moment of stillness, you might find that a thought comes in, and you might find that causes you to lose your balance. It's one of the things I've had to work on as a teacher, because of course I'm focused on teaching, and so sometimes I lose my balance because my thought is not on my body. It's not super present because I'm thinking more externally. But you, in your practice, can bring those thoughts internal and really maintain that focus. It will help you keep your balance in many, many of the postures. So have that in your mind today. We won't be doing any challenging, crazy balance poses today, but just in general. And go ahead and inhale, extending the arms up overhead, pressing the palms together. Tilt your gaze up. And as you exhale, draw your hands to your heart and open up your eyes. So I thought we'd work on a number of things with our hips and our legs today. So we'll start in Baddha Konasana, so soles of your feet together. So this one, I have quite narrow hips, and so this is a particularly challenging posture for me. My sister does this and her knees just fall to the floor. So everyone is different. Men tend to have a harder time with this because men also have narrower hips compared to shoulders, which is what I have. I have broader shoulders and narrower hips, so this tends to be hard for me. So notice it. Maybe you have really open hips. Maybe your bone structure is that you might have open hips, but you have muscle tension and you have tightness in there. So that's what we can all work on. It doesn't really matter what your bone structure is. We can all work on releasing that tightness. So don't be too fussed if you've got the soles of your feet together, or I tend to let mine flop open, pinky toes together. If your knees are super close to the floor or not, don't worry so much about that, because that has a lot to do with lots of different aspects, not just flexibility. I've been doing this for years and my knees aren't anywhere near the mat, so that's okay. What's more important is that we think about sitting tall. We don't want to create flexibility in one place and then be slumping here. So sit nice and tall, shoulders down and back, maintaining that same alignment we just had. Some people like to flutter. You could flutter the wings of your butterfly if you'd like. I like to press my arms against my thighs and use that sort of traction. So I sit up tall against that pressure and I press the knees open. And just take a couple of breaths. Seeing if you can ask the muscles to release. Equally, if you happen to be very, very flexible, if you have hypermobility, you don't want to necessarily go into a deep stretch. People with hypermobility need to actually pull back some, so be aware of that too. From here, think about growing tall and then hinging from the hips, leading with the chest, and then letting the head relax down. So your spine rounds over, breathe into that back. Notice where you feel this, if it's different from when you were sitting up, if it's the same, if it's deeper. If there's a different tightness, taking a couple of breaths. And bringing yourself up. Drawing the left leg in, extend the right leg off to the side. Sometimes we do it right in front of us, but this time bring it out to the side. And right foot up fairly high on your thigh here. And from here we'll laterally bend. So as always, the right arm can be on the side or in front of you, in front of the leg, and reach the left arm over. What's more important here is this lateral curve of the spine. So you're trying to keep the chest open. In fact, if you can bring your gaze up and roll your shoulder back, that will help do that. If it bothers your neck, sometimes I put my hand behind my head and I can kind of cup my head in my hand. And you can pull that elbow back, and that supports the neck and helps you stay open. So you decide what feels right for you. Take a couple of breaths there. Letting go as low as you want to go. Good. Pressing up, and go ahead and place that left hand behind you. Press into the right heel. Push yourself up. You're pushing up this right hip. Reach the right arm up and over. Maybe look back over your shoulder. Taking a breath. Inhaling all the way, filling up the chest, the abs, all the way down to the hips. And releasing that down. And then walking this forward. Hands on the floor in front of you, letting the head go, letting the body go. Again, notice your foot. Does it roll in? Does it roll out? Or can you keep it more or less facing towards the ceiling, which would be ideal? See if you can let both hips stay in the mat. And bringing yourself up. Take this right leg and bring it all the way across. So now you've got your left leg tucked under you, right leg is across. Sitting up nice and tall, you're gonna twist towards this bent knee. So the right hand's gonna go behind the body, the left hand's either gonna hug the knee, or the left arm rather, or you can bring that arm all the way over. But again, think of that spinal integrity. So bringing the arm over isn't the be all and end all. If it's better for you to hug it, that's fine, to stay sitting nice and tall. Not leaning back, not slumping over. Roll that back shoulder back, opening the chest, and just keeping your head in neutral. You don't need to worry about sort of craning and looking over your shoulder. Just right there, chin kind of still in the center of your chest. Taking a couple of breaths. All right, coming back to center, we're going to do Gormukhasana, which is cow face posture. So this leg that's bent here is going to stack on top of this one. This can be a challenging posture, so if it doesn't work for you, just untangle yourself. It's another type of hip opening, so you'll feel a stretch probably in both hips. It just sort of depends. And then, so your right leg is on top, so you're going to bend that left elbow behind you, and then you're reaching up with the right hand, trying to grab hands behind. If you can't reach, you can put something in between your hands to bridge the gap, but you could also take that right hand and just gently stretch your tricep this way, so you decide. For a long time, I thought this was meant to be cow face from the back. I wasn't really sure why, but actually, the English translation, this is cow face, and these, your elbows, are the ears of the cow, and your legs and your knees are meant to be the lips of the cow. So you can decide if I look like the face of a cow. But that's where the name comes from. Take a breath, so we're stretching both triceps, especially if you're holding hands, otherwise you're just stretching one tricep. And hopefully you feel this in the hips. Always, if any of the stretches are painful, come out of them. But if sometimes there's some tightness or discomfort, just see if you can breathe through it. See if those muscles begin to release and relax, and maybe it becomes a little bit less uncomfortable. Maybe it doesn't. Good. Go ahead and undo yourself. Unpretzel your legs and open both legs up wide. Toes towards the ceiling, kneecaps towards the ceiling. Once again, sitting up tall. Taking a deep breath. And then we're going to hinge forward, leading with the chest again so that your chest would land way out there on the floor somewhere. Long spine rather than a rounded spine. Pressing into the hands in front of you. So I like to actually push onto the floor and sort of imagine I'm lifting out of that low spine. So worry less about heading towards the floor, thinking about growing long out of the hips. Head still in line with the spine rather than dropping down here. Taking a deep breath, and again noticing the feet. Mine will roll in if I don't think about it. Some people's will roll out. See if you can point those knees right to the ceiling, and if you're really tight in the hamstrings, you can always bend your knees here. Totally fine. Can you inch out a little bit further? Centimeter out, millimeter out maybe. I could stay in this position for like 15 minutes. I love it. It's such a nice stretch, but we shan't do that. Walk yourself back up. And now we'll do the other side. Hopefully I'll remember all the ones we did on the first side. So bring the right leg in, keeping that left leg extended out. Once again, take a moment, sit up tall, and then we'll laterally bend, so do what you want with the left arm. Reach that right arm over, roll up through that shoulder so you're gazing towards the ceiling, and so you have options. That arm could just stay down by your side. It can reach over, that gives you a really nice side stretch to the body. And again, if it feels comfortable, if it helps your neck to catch your head, you can do that. Some of you might reach your toes Lots of us won't reach our toes. That's okay. Breathe into this. Good, and press yourself up. Right hand behind, pushing into the left thigh, pushing up through the hip. Stretching that arm overhead. Maybe looking back over the shoulder. Good, releasing that. And then walking forward here. Releasing the head. Hold there for a moment. I've got the aircon on that's making noise. I'm gonna turn that off. Good, and then go ahead and walk yourself up from there, coming to our seated half spinal twist. So bringing this left leg over as you scooch the right leg back, taking a moment to sit up tall. If this doesn't work for you, you can always extend the bottom leg. Sit up nice and tall, and then twist, left hand behind. Again, right arm can hug the knee. It can come all the way over as long as you don't lose the integrity of your spine. And then again, this arm, some people like to put it up and like wave, right angle. There is a bind. You could reach the arm through and you grab onto that hand behind. You can reach down to the foot. There's often many variations of the same posture. I can only show you one at a time. One day when I'm a super good yoga teacher, I'll be able to do more than one posture simultaneously. But until that comes, I can show you one, but you can pick any of them. Breathe into this. Again, release that. Coming to our Gormukhasana on this side. So bringing that left leg all the way back, stacking your hips. So our left leg's on top, right leg arm is going to bend behind, and then we reach up. Now you might find you can catch your hands can bind on one side and not on the other. That's fine too. A towel or like a washcloth is often enough, a t-shirt to like bridge the distance. And again, if that is not comfortable, sometimes if you've got shoulder issues, just doing this is a nice alternative. And just take a couple breaths there and notice if this feels different. Is this side tighter than the other side? Is it more comfortable? Is it less comfortable? We will have a tendency to like to do postures or to sit longer in postures that feel good, and we'll tend to avoid the ones that we don't like if they are muscle areas that are tight or muscles that are weaker. But really, if we're being honest, we should spend more time focusing on the ones that we don't like so much and then reward ourselves with the good ones. So if this feels uncomfortable because you've got tightness there, just breathe into that discomfort. Exhale and try to let it go. Unless there's pain, never work through pain. Good, and then go ahead and release that. And once again, unpretzel your legs. Go ahead and just give them a shake. Let go of any tightness there. Sitting up tall in staff pose, Dandasana. Flexing your toes towards the ceiling. And again, if you've got tight hamstrings, bending the knees. Otherwise, inhale, extend the arms up. Think about extending forward with a long spine. So think about hinging forward. Reach those arms in front of you like you're trying to grab hold of something and see if you can keep the spine long. Head still in neutral. Then let the arms go. If you're sort of flexible and you can grab your feet, cool. If your hands land somewhere here or on your legs, that's fine too. And then use that muscle to pull yourself forward. Again, thinking of down here, hinging from the hips, seeing if you can create space between these lower vertebrae. Chest is actually still open. You should be able to see me, unless of course you're super flexible and you're just laying flat on your legs, in which case that's fine. Take a breath. And then on your next exhalation, go ahead and release and let your back round if that's what it wants to do. Let your head go. And breathe into that. then bring yourself up. Coming over onto hands and knees. Hands under shoulders, knees under hips. Go ahead and press the pelvis down so you're coming up into your cow posture. And then swish your hips to one side and try to look back and see your tail. And then swish your hips to the other side and look over there. And just do that a couple of times so you're turning your head and you're pushing your hips side to side, wagging your tail. And then work your way back to center. And press up, arching the back, pressing into the palms. Take a breath there, really stretching into that upper back. And then bring yourself to neutral. Elbows a little bit soft here, so they're not locking. Shoulders down away from the ears. Press into the hands and lift the knees off the floor, so the backs or the tops of the feet rather are on the mat. And lower down. And again, lift up and hover. And lower down. One more time, lift up and hover. And lower down. Good. Extend the right leg behind you, flexing your foot, pushing the heel away. Extend the opposite arm in front of you, stretching through the fingertips. Next time you exhale, draw them slowly towards one another, pressing up the back, so you're arching through the back here like you're making a cow posture. And then inhale and look forward as you inhale. So now there's a little bit of an arch in your back. Exhale, up into cat, drawing everything in. Inhale, extending into a variation of cow. One more time. Exhale, drawing everything in. Inhale, extend everything out. Open up everything to the side so your arm is straight from the shoulder. You can see my leg is not at hip height. Maybe your leg is. And then lower the leg down and lift. Down and lift. Down and lift. Two more. Last one. Bring everything back to center. Place the hand down on the mat and just make circles with the legs. Or the leg. Not both legs. And reverse that direction. So your whole leg is moving, but it's not a giant circle. Relatively confined circle. Good. And then bring that foot all the way forward, planting it down and pressing yourself up onto your knee, and then hinging that forward. Pausing here for a moment, shoulders down and back, chest lifting, opening up the front of this hip flexor. So the more you can hinge forward, the more this hip will open up. And this is one of the only times that you might track out over your toes. Still think of growing tall and long through your spine. Extend the arms up overhead, opening up the chest, maybe bringing yourself to a little bit of a back bend. And then release the same arm as leg. So I have my left leg, my left arm back. Reach into that, breathing into the opposite rib cage, your right rib cage if your left arm is back. And then bring that hand down, other hand down, come onto your knees so you're in a modified plank. Lower yourself all the way down to the mat. Releasing yourself down, releasing the legs. Keeping hands right here by the shoulder blades. No pressure in the hands, just lift up as high as you can like a baby cobra without using your hands. Contract the gluteal muscles, squeeze the gluteal muscles, but feet stay on the floor. Make sure you can wiggle your fingers, no weight in your fingers. Take a breath. Hold it for 3, for 2. Last one. Release that down. Push into your hands, push up, back onto your knees, arching the back up again. Into cat. And then finding yourself a neutral spine. Extend the left leg behind, or if you did the left last time, do your right. And then the right arm, or whichever one you didn't do last time. We'll do the same series here, so just hold it here. Next time you exhale, draw everything in, pressing the back up into that cat position. Inhale, gaze comes out and looks at the fingertips. Exhale, pull everything in. Inhale, extend. Last time. Inhale, extend and hold. Pushing through the heel, see if you can lengthen that leg, extend the arm. So pull the shoulder blade back, don't reach out of your shoulder blade. Keep the shoulder in its socket, shoulder square, but you're extending the arm, you're pushing through the heel. Reach everything out to the side, right arm out to the side, left leg out to the side, lower it to the floor, and lift. And down, and lift. 3, 2, last one. Back to center, bring the arm to center, place the hand down, and now make little circles with that leg. So I say little circles, the whole leg is moving. It's moving from the hip socket, but it's just not a giant swinging action. Go ahead and reverse that direction. And pause that, and bring that leg all the way forward, planting it down. Rising up, hinging forward, opening the right hip flexor. Lifting, so the hands are here on the legs for a couple of reasons. Number one, I don't want it on your knee. Number two, you're more stable than when we extend them. But you can also use that to actually create that pressing forward action and yet still stay lifted, so you're not slumping into it. We're still rising up and the hands can help you do that. Then once you're ready, extend the arms, shoulders down and back, chest towards the sky. And then releasing the back arm, the right arm in my case, reach the left arm up overhead. See if you can drive forward a little bit more, see if you can create some more space in your left ribs. And release that hand down to the mat. Step the left knee back, coming to hands and knees. And let's lower all the way down to the mat again. This time pressing into the hands and seeing if you can lift up a little bit higher. Pull the shoulders down and back. So we never want to be here in our cobra. If you're here, you probably just need to lower down. Pull the shoulders so their elbows are hugging the ribs, shoulders are down and back, contracting the glutes. And release that down. Press up and back, come back to child's pose, sitting back on the heels, letting your head melt to the floor. Breathe into the upper back for a moment. And bring yourself up. Coming to modified plank, so walking the knees out a little away from the body, hands under the shoulders, belly button pulling in, contracting the abdominals. Spinning this around, I'm going to come to the right side. So my right knee spins around. I press myself up and I find myself in a modified side plank, reaching that left arm overhead. Again, you could do either side. We'll do both. Just make sure you remember which side you're doing. Lift the leg up. And then grab the hand and grab the ankle with the hand. Press the ankle gently against the hand. So you're trying to create traction here, once again, in our hip flexor. So you're not super arching the back here, right? So keep that leg right where it was, in line with everything else, but then press against the hands to create traction, stretching that hip flexor. Good, extend that leg back out. Press yourself up, preparing for gate. I'm just gonna scooch a little bit. So right arm comes up and over, and that left arm just dangles, or it could find a block. If you put your hand on your leg, that's fine, but make sure there's no pressure there. You don't want to be pushing on your leg in this position. This is another one where if you want, you can catch your head in your hand, because that will help you open through the chest. You can bring the gaze up towards the ceiling, and it really rotates the chest to a nice open position. Totally optional. If you're happy here, that's fine too. Good, press yourself up. I think we did camel last time, but we're on our knees, so let's go ahead and do it. So coming to two knees, knees under hips. It's a really good one for your low back. We'll just do the modification here. So bringing hands to hips, any position on your hips, it doesn't matter. Contract the glutes, contract the thighs, push the hips forward, pull the elbows together, open the chest towards the ceiling, and begin to release the head back. The key to not hurting your back is to contract the glutes, contract the thighs, and don't think about leaning back. Think about opening the chest towards the sky, and the leaning back just happens. Pull the elbows together. Good, bring yourself up. Come back to your hands and knees, press yourself up, counter pose that back bend with a moment of cat stretch. And then walk the knees back again, coming to that modified plank. I'm just going to turn around so I don't end up with my back to you. And we're going to do the other side. So pivot the left knee now, reach the right leg out, extend the right arm up overhead. Lifting that leg, bring the hand to catch the ankle, press into the ankle, or press into the hand rather with the foot or the ankle, opening that hip flexor again. Taking a deep breath. Good, extending that out, pressing up into gate pose. That right arm dangles by the side, left arm comes up and over. And again, options. Just bring that hand where it makes sense, where you're not pushing on your knee. On a block is a great place for it. And on the leg is fine, but really gently. And same thing, that top arm can stretch over, or you could bend the elbow, catch the head in your hand, look up towards the ceiling. See how that opens up the chest. Taking a deep breath, keeping the side bend. Good, and then press yourself up. Spinning back around, coming up onto a full plank position. Belly button pulling in, shoulders pulling down and back, gluteals pressing in, and then push yourself up. Downward facing dog, jogging through, bending one knee, bending the other knee. Rolling the shoulders down away from the ears. Extend the right arm up overhead, bending that knee, dropping it open to the other side. Think about lifting through the right knee. Lift the right knee up to open the hips, to stack the right knee or right hip on top of the left, opening up the pelvis. And then bring that leg back to center, extend it long behind you, really kick it away, push the heel away from you. Pressing the opposite heel into the floor. And then bring that leg all the way forward, plant it down, rise up into your warrior one. Hands can come to heart or arms can extend overhead. What's more important is what's going on with our torso. So we've been focusing a lot on our hips. Think about this left hip rotating inwards so their hips are forward. So if you're more stable with your hand on your thigh or on your heart, that's fine, or you can bring your arms up overhead. Never tracking out over the big toe. Stay knee over ankle, as deep a bend as you want, as much as 90 degrees. Mine is not 90 degrees, but you might go to 90. Taking a deep breath here. Now, focus on a point in front of you, that drishti point. Keep your eye on that point. Bring your attention in your mind to that left hip. We're going to transition to Warrior 2, but as we transition from Virabhadrasana 1 to Virabhadrasana 2, I don't want you to lose your focus. I want you to just open up that left hip. The arms drop down. Your gaze has not moved. And your feet don't really need to move much. You're still at an angle on that back foot. I tend to go deeper in Warrior 2, so I move my foot back. But otherwise, it doesn't really need to move. Belly pulls in. Keeping the focus on the hip. See if you can keep opening this left hip and the right hip. In this full expression, you'd have your hips completely facing out the opposite direction from your gaze. Take a deep breath into this. Squeezing the shoulder blades together. Good. Extend that front leg. Pivot all the way around to the other side of the mat. And then step the back foot forward just a little bit for pyramid pose. So squaring the hips now to the back side of the mat. Bringing hands either to hips, fist to fist, or palm to palm. Open the chest towards the ceiling, and then again leading with the chest. As you lean forward, you'll notice your left hip or the front hip will pull forward and the right hip wants to rotate back. See if you can pull the front hip back and the back hip forward so that they stay square as you go down. Just going parallel to the floor, trying to keep a long spine. You're gazing on the floor out in front of you, squaring the hips, taking a breath into this. Rising up. Releasing the hands, we're going to come onto this front leg, the left leg. We're going to bring the right leg into the chest, giving yourself a hug. And then grab hold of that shin and see if you can open up that leg out to the side a little bit. You can do whatever you want with the opposite hand. Hand on hip, arm extended. You could bind it around and give your thigh some help pulling over. You can hold on to something. Good. Bring it back to center. Bring hands to heart. And can you step back into a lunge? Right foot comes back, lunge. Pivot around, toes are parallel, forward fold. Take a breath. Release into it. Bend the knees and roll yourself all the way up. Good. Pivot around, bend the knees so the hands can find the mat. Step the right foot back, press yourself up, downward facing dog. Shoulders rolling away from the ears. Or is that just me? What? Oh, am I gone? I see you, Joelle.
I'm not hearing all of a sudden.
Oh. Extend the left leg up, bend the knee, stacking left hip on right. Opening up through the pelvis. And back to center, press the left heel away. Long legs, press the right heel into the mat. And then bring that leg all the way forward, planting it down, rising up, Virabhadrasana 1. So again, your option with your arms. There's no law that says they have to come overhead. Focus on bringing the hips forward. Maybe hands at heart works better for you. Woo! Remember I was saying about losing your balance when you're distracted? So notice my foot's at an angle. We're really pressing into the right pinky toe, trying to bring the hips forward. Bend that front knee as deeply as you want. If I bend deeply, my hips go all out of alignment on this side. There's another one yoga teachers love to come and adjust me. I'm like, it's not going to work. All right, so same thing. Find that drishti point. Stare at it. Don't lose it. And now simply rotate your body from your hips, opening up the right hip, shoulders down and back. You're a warrior. You don't want to lose sight of whatever it is you're looking at. And then double check your feet. Left heel should be hitting about the arch of the right or the back foot. If you want to go deeper, you just got to scooch the foot back so you have more space to bend deeper. Good, go ahead and straighten that leg. Pivot around, facing the other side. You're going to have to step the back foot forward a little bit. Getting ready for pyramid, take your hand position, hips, fists, reverse prayer. Hinging forward with a long spine. Actively pulling the left or whatever hip is back forward. Otherwise you end up kind of twisted here. Breathing into it. Go ahead and press yourself up. Pivot around. Feet parallel, keeping the hands right where they are. Go ahead and hinge forward. Clasp those hands behind the back, reach them up overhead, giving yourself a shoulder stretch. And then pull those arms up. Pivot back to the front of the mat. Hands find the mat. Step back to plank. Press up to down dog. And right leg comes up overhead. We're going to bring it forward, hinge forward, and then kick the right leg off to the side. So it's going to come way out here on the left side. Rotate that left foot so it finds the mat, and then extend the left arm up overhead. It's fallen triangle. Breathe into this. Bring yourself back, left hand finds the mat. We're going to come to pigeon so that right foot can just drag across and find the mat. Extend the left leg behind you, sitting up tall and proud, reaching that left leg back. And then if you'd like, you can release yourself down, melting onto the mat. Doing what you want with those arms. They can stretch forward, they can make a pillow for your head. Always trying to scooch that foot that's in front more and more in front rather than letting it drift back. And try not to roll onto that right glute. Your hips should be square. Pressing into the hands, pushing yourself up. Push up, see if you can get that foot out in front of you because we're going to come to half split. So the right leg is still in front, hinging back and melting over that leg. Foot can be flexed for a deeper stretch of the hamstring. Foot can be pointed if that feels better for you. So you're pulling against the traction of the mat, has your foot stuck to it. But it's like you're trying to pull it back as you sit back into your hips to create that stretch in your hamstrings, but also you should feel this in your hips and your back. Again, hinging that forward, placing the hands on the mat. We're going to come all the way back to a three-legged down dog with the right leg extended. So push up and back, three-legged down dog. And then just make some circles with that right leg. Big, I've got my knee bent, just big hip circles to open up that hip. And then go ahead and place that foot down. And extend the left leg. Hinging it forward, reach that left leg across to the right. It plants outside. Pivot the right foot to the mat. Lift the right hand off the mat, fall in triangle. And then right hand comes back to the mat, left foot drags across, coming to pigeon, extending the right leg straight back behind you, chest lifting, squaring the hips forward, not rolling onto that left glute, but keeping the right hip coming forward, taking this moment here, and then if you want, you don't have to, you can come forward and relax into it. Taking a few breaths into this, noticing the difference this side from the other side. I just realized something we forgot. We need to go do that. Good, go ahead and push yourself up out of that. Press into your hands. We're going to come back, three-legged down dog with that left leg extended. Bend the knee and make a couple of big hip circles. I tell you, the problem with not having a live class is there's no one to go, you forgot this. So many of these, I forget something. Okay, so
I was facing the other way. Just trying to figure out what leg. All right, so from your three-legged down dog, place the left foot on the mat. Just come to a regular down dog. And then step the right foot forward. Press yourself up into a power lunge type position. And then we're going to, nope, because that's going to be the wrong foot. Just come to standing. I can't think and talk at the same time, y'all. Good. Oh, it would have been right. Lift the left knee. I would have been fine. Hug the left knee into the chest. I want to get out of there balancing, but I'm facing the other direction. There went my flow. Open that left leg out to the side. Standing tall, same thing. Right arm can go wherever you want it to go. And bring that leg back. Place that foot on the floor. Take a deep inhale, open arms towards the ceiling. Exhale, float forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Hold your Ardha Uttanasana for a moment. Pull the shoulders back, pull the belly in. Soft knees. Feel that stretch in the back of your hamstrings. Release that down, coming to forward fold, grabbing hold of toes, or even putting hands under your feet. Pulling the crown of your head down. Good, release that. I'm going to give you one hard move today, one challenge move. Bend your knees. Bring yourself up into chair posture. Sitting back in your heels, shoulders down and back. Your optional challenge move today, in our otherwise less intense practice, is to go from this to boat pose. So we're going to go Utkatasana to Navasana. So you have to sit low, 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 and then see if you can find the floor, extend the legs, coming to Navasana. I can't see whether you did it or not, so if you did, cool. If you didn't, that's fine too. Place the feet on the floor, pull the belly in and roll yourself all the way down. Stretch arms overhead, stretch legs overhead. Take a deep inhale. Press the left heel away as you draw the right knee into the body, giving it a hug. And then extend the right leg, catching your hands behind the leg. You very well might want to bend that bottom knee and place the foot on the floor. It really depends on your flexibility. Or if you have a strap that creates length here, you might be able to have that leg down and use a strap. But you don't want to be like arching up here. So see if you can keep the shoulders in the mat. Roll the ankle a couple of times each direction. Flex the foot. Point the foot. Notice how that feels. Bend that knee into your body, grabbing hold of the foot, and see if you can just open up the hip a little bit here. So you're pulling that foot across the body, cradling the knee. Good, coming back just into your chest. And then switch, press the right leg away, hug the left knee in, flex the right foot. Extend the left leg. Again, definite option to bend the right foot and place it on the floor. It also might bother your back if your low back might be arching off the mat. So see if you can get the shoulders into the mat. And don't tug on the knee, okay? We don't want to ever tug on the knee. So you can either hold on behind the thigh, or you can reach to the calf, or if you're more flexible or you have really long arms, you can reach to the ankle or the toes. And then roll the ankle and point and flex the foot. Gently give it a little bit of a pull, stretching that hamstring a little bit more. And then bend the knee and cradle the foot, cradle the knee, pulling that foot in, opening up the hip a little bit. Good, and then hug both knees into the chest. Extend both legs up, flexing both feet. Grabbing hold for support behind the legs or behind the calves, but try to keep the hips on the ground so you're not lifting off. Flexing the feet. Just a little baby inversion here. And then coming into happy baby, speaking of babies, grabbing between the legs, holding onto feet or ankles, and let yourself rock from side to side. Bringing the soles of the feet together, lower the feet onto the mat. Let the knees drop open. And then go ahead and maybe cactus your arms just to release the shoulders. So elbows are bent, palms are up, eyes are closed. And take a couple of really deep, long breaths. Into the nose, out through the mouth. Thinking of that posture we started in when we were seated in a butterfly. Now supine Baddha Konasana. Notice it feels the same, feels different. If this is comfortable and you want to stay here, you may. Otherwise, extending the legs, releasing the arms, and coming to your Savasana. So as you lie there, I thought we could I could talk you through a relaxation. So this is a body scan relaxation. So bring your attention to your feet. If you'd like, you can actually contract the muscles. If you'd rather not do that, you don't have to. So either simply bring your attention to your toes, to your feet, or to your ankles, or squeeze and contract those muscles. And then on your next exhale, release and relax. Moving up, bringing the attention to the calves, maybe contracting, squeezing the muscles of the calves and the knees. And then on your next exhale, release and relax. Bringing your attention to your thighs and to your glutes and to your hips. Squeezing, contracting, contracting, contracting. And on your next exhale, release and relax. Noticing your legs, letting them sink into the mat. Noticing their weight. Maybe the ankles roll out. Just feel them let go. And then bringing your attention to your hands, option to squeeze your hands into fists, squeezing, 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 and as you exhale, release and relax. And drawing your attention to your arms, maybe contracting the muscle of the arms, tightening the biceps and the triceps and the forearms. And then as you exhale, let the arms go. And bringing the attention to the shoulders, squeezing through the shoulder blades, and exhale, relax. Drawing your attention to your arms, feeling them grow heavy, feeling every muscle just relax, release, sinking into the earth. And then bringing your attention to your belly button, your pelvis, your abdomen, your low back. Maybe contracting those muscles. Exhale, release, and relax. And drawing your attention to your ribs, your chest, your upper back. Squeezing tightly. Exhale, and relax. And bringing your attention up into your neck, into your jaw, tightening and squeezing those muscles. Exhale, let it go. And bringing your attention to your face, squishing your face into a little teeny ball, tightening all the muscles, tightening the jaw and the eyes and the forehead, and then let it go on the exhale. Let all the lines smooth, all the tension leave. And bring your attention to your internal systems, being aware of your heart, your lungs,
your digestive system, your mind. Exhale and let go of any tension, anything negative, any illness, any pain.
Monica, I don't
Imagine
know if you could hear me, but your mic is muted, so we can't hear you.
I tried to mute you before, Joelle, and I muted myself.
And just take another breath, breathing deeply all the way down your body. Exhale, letting it go. And then start to wiggle fingers and toes, reawakening the muscles, rolling the wrists and ankles, rolling the head from side to side. Drawing the knees into the chest and giving yourself a little rock, side to side, massaging the back. Rolling over to one side or to the other, hugging the knees into the chest. And then when you're ready, pressing yourself up to sit, finding a cross-legged position, sitting up tall as we began the class. And taking a moment as we did before, thinking of the posture, seeing if you can find your body in the most neutral position. The healthiest for your spine, for your lungs. See if you can find comfort in that place. And bringing the hands to the heart, pressing the palms together. Take an inhale through the nose. Open your mouth and let it go. Again, inhale. Open your mouth and let it go. Rubbing your palms together to generate some heat. Faster and faster, making those palms really, really warm. And then bring the palms over the eyes, cupping them so that they're not pressing against your eyes. And then flutter your eyelids open and release the hands down.